if you want to run Microsoft Windows 11 as a guest virtual machine on KVM. You must take some additional steps to ensure that everything runs smoothly. So in this video, I'll show you how to properly install a Windows 11 virtual machine on KVM. I'll show you what virtual hardware you need to set up. I will show you how to install VirtIO drivers while installing Windows 11, how to install Windows guest tools once the installation is finished, how to enable hardware security in Windows 11, and finally, I will show you how to optimize Windows 11 performance. But before you start, ensure that you've met the following requirements. You have installed the KVM Hypervisor on your computer. If not, check out my other video, how to properly install KVM on Linux. You have installed or downloaded the VirtIO drivers for Windows guests on your host computer. If not, please do. I have covered this in the same video I just suggested you. So please watch that video. And you have downloaded the official Windows 11 installation ISO image. I'll include all links in the description. So let's begin. Start the Virtual Machine Manager application. Before you begin creating a Windows 11 guest virtual machine, you must first enable XML editing. You will be adding some XML components later in this video. Click the computer icon to launch the wizard. This wizard will walk you through the process of setting up a new virtual machine in 5 easy steps. In step 1, select the local install media option. In step 2, choose the Windows 11 ISO installer image. Step 3 involves configuring memory and CPU. The minimum RAM required to install Windows 11 is 4 gigabytes. I'll just keep the default 8 gigabyte. As for the CPU, I only have 4, so I'll set it to 2 CPUs. Here you must specify how much disk space you need for Windows 11. The requirement is 64 gigs or more. I'll keep the default of 128 gigs. In the final step, assign a name to the virtual machine. I'll give it the name Windows 11. Also make sure to check the box Customize Configuration before install. Finally, click the Finish button to complete the wizard and move on to the advanced options. Make sure the chipset is set to Q35. The Q35 chipset natively supports PCIe and provides PCIe improved pass-through support. Also, ensure that the firmware is set to UEFI. This enables Secure Boot, which is required by Windows 11. Next, click the XML tab. You need to enable the Hyper-V Enlightenments. Hyper-V Enlightenments allow KVM to emulate the Microsoft Hyper-V Hypervisor, and this improves the performance of the Windows 11 virtual machine. To enable it, go to my post on the same subject. I'll add the link to this post in the description. And then copy the XML text. And replace the Hyper-V XML block here. Also, if you have an AMD processor, you cannot use this feature. This VMCS feature is only available on Intel platforms. So you must remove this line for Hyper-V Enlightenments to work properly on AMD processors. Also, ensure that the timer Hyper-V clock is set to yes. Click the apply button. Go to CPU. Ensure the CPU configuration is set to host pass-through. When the mode is set to host pass-through, the host CPU's model and features are exactly passed on to the guest virtual machine. This causes the virtual machine to run close to the host native speed. This is the recommended and default option as well. Next, go to the disk. Set the disk bus to VirtIO. The VirtIO is preferred over other emulated storage controllers as it is specifically designed and optimized for virtualization. Set the cache mode to none. In this mode, the host page cache is bypassed and input-output occurs directly between the hypervisor user space buffers and the storage device. In terms of performance, it is equivalent to direct disk access on your host. Set the discard node to unmap. When you delete files in the guest virtual machine, the changes are reflected immediately in the guest file system. The QCOW2 disk image associated with the VM on the host, however, does not shrink to reflect the newly freed space. When you set the discard mode to unmap, the QCOW2 disk image will automatically shrink to reflect the newly freed space. Because you selected VirtIO as the disk bus for your virtual disk, you must install VirtIO drivers during Windows installation, as the first CD-ROM is used for the installation ISO. You'll need to add a second CD-ROM to mount the VirtIO-Win.ISO. So click the Add Hardware button. Then in the storage, select CD-ROM device. Browse to User, Share, and VirtIO-Win. Select the VirtIO-Win ISO file. The second CD-ROM has now been added. Next, go to Network Interface, change the device model to VirtIO. The network VirtIO driver is specifically designed and optimized for virtualization. As a result, there will be no processing overhead, and the performance of the guest virtual machine will naturally improve. In a Windows virtual machine, removing the USB tablet device can reduce idle CPU usage and context switches. As a result, the performance of the Windows 11 virtual machine will improve. KVM uses certain communication channel devices to connect the guest and host machine. Spice VMC is a paravirtualized Spice channel that is used by KVM to communicate with the Spice display server. Similarly, if you want to communicate with a guest from the host, you must add the guest agent channel. So click the Add Hardware button to open the Add New Virtual Hardware window. Now, select Channel, then from the drop-down list, select Guest Agent. Click the Finish button to apply. Next, go to Video, select the QXL model. It is the preferred model for Windows. Finally, enable TPM. Windows 11 requires TPM version 2.0. All of the virtual hardware and settings needed to install Microsoft Windows 11 have been configured. To begin the installation of Windows 11, click the Begin Installation button. Choose your language, time and currency format, and keyboard. I will keep the defaults and click Next to continue. Click the Install Now button. If you have a product key, enter it here to activate Windows 11. Otherwise, choose I don't have a product key option. Choose the Windows version you want to install. I'll be installing Windows 11 Home for this tutorial. Accept the license terms. You are given two options here. Since we are doing a new installation, choose the second option. You must now select the disk on which Windows 11 will be installed. But as you can see, the installer was unable to find any disks. This is because we chose the VirtIO disk bus when setting up Windows 11 virtual hardware. So you must manually install the VirtIO drivers. Click on the Load Driver option. Browse. Expand the second CD drive. Expand VIOS Store. Expand W11. And select AMD64. Click Next to install. As you can see, the disk is now visible. But don't proceed with the installation just yet. You still have to install the VirtIO network driver. So repeat the same process, but this time expand NetKVM. And then install NetKVM driver. Now that both drivers have been installed, click the Next button to continue the installation. The next installation steps are all about personalization. So complete the installation according to your needs. And once completed, I will proceed from there. Windows 11 installation is now complete. You now need to install VirtIO Windows Guest Tools. The guest tools include some optional drivers and services that boost SPICE performance and integration. This includes both the QXL video driver and the SPICE guest agent, which provides copy and paste automatic resolution switching and other features. So launch the file manager, navigate to the CD drive, and Double-click on the guest tools package to install it. After installing the guest tools in the Windows 11 KVM window, select View, Scale Display, and enable the Auto Resize option. This will enable the Windows 11 guest window to automatically scale as you resize it. As you can see, the window scales automatically when you resize it. Now that you've installed guest tools, you don't need the second CD-ROM drive. So shut down Windows 11. Click on Virtual Hardware. Unmount the ISO file and remove the CD drive. You also don't need the Windows 11 installer ISO, so unmount it as well. Start the Windows 11 virtual machine. Next, you need to enable hardware security on Windows 11. With the Q35 chipset selected, Secure Boot and TPM 2.0 enabled, and the latest WHQL certified VirtIO drivers installed. Your Windows 11 guest virtual machine already has standard security. You can check if your virtual machine passes standard security by opening the device security page. To access the device security page, navigate to Settings, Privacy and Security, Windows Security, and Device Security. As you can see here, it says your virtual machine already has standard hardware security. So no issue here. To make Windows 11 guest virtual machine even more secure, you can enable core isolation. Core isolation provides additional protection against malware and other attacks by isolating computer processes from your operating system and device. Memory integrity is a feature of core isolation. By enabling the memory integrity setting, you can help prevent malicious code from accessing high security processes during an attack. But before attempting to enable this feature, ensure that your processor supports it. To check if your processor supports this feature, go to this page and see if your processor is listed. I will add the link to this page in the description. If your processor isn't listed here, skip this section and move on to the next one, which is optimizing Windows 11 performance. To enable this feature, first shut down Windows 11. Open the virtual hardware details page. Then click the overview option on the left panel and the XML tab on the right. Scroll down to CPU section. And enable the VMX feature. If you are using an AMD processor, replace VMX with the SVN policy flag. This feature, however, is not available to me because I am using an old 4th generation Intel processor. If your processor supports, then keep this policy, save it, and start the virtual machine. I will, however, remove this policy because it does not work for me. Once Windows 11 has booted, return to the core isolation details page. Toggle the memory integrity switch. You will then be prompted to restart Windows 11. After restart, check your device's security level once more. You should now have a Windows 11 running with enhanced hardware security. Configuring or disabling certain Windows features in Windows 11 can help improve performance. I will provide some suggestions to improve performance, but it's up to you to implement them or not. SuperFetch is a standard Windows feature that preloads the apps you use the most frequently. Although SuperFetch is useful, it consumes a significant amount of CPU and RAM as a background service. To disable SuperFetch type services into the search box and click on services. In the services window, look for sysmain. Right-click it and select Properties. Then disable the service. SuperFetch is now disabled. Next, you need to disable Windows Web Search. When you search for something in the Windows search box or start menu, Windows may take a few seconds to retrieve your search results and a list of suggested web results from Bing. Although this is a useful feature, you may dislike it and wish to disable it. To disable web results on Windows 11, open the registry editor. Browse to current user, software, policies, Microsoft. Right-click the Windows key, select New, and then select the key option. Enter Explorer as the key name and press Enter. Now right-click on the newly created Explorer key, select New, and then the DWord 32-bit. Name the DWord, disable search box suggestions, and press Enter. Double-click the newly created DWord and change its value from 0 to 1. Close the registry editor window and restart your computer. You will now have fast-loading search results that do not retrieve results from the web. Next, you need to disable platform clock. When the Hyper-V extensions are enabled, using the platform clock leads to poor performance. As a result, you need to disable this feature. So open the terminal as an administrator. And type this command. And then press Enter. Next, disable any unnecessary scheduled tasks. To see a list of all scheduled tasks, run this command in the terminal. I'm only going to disable the scheduled defrag task. It is entirely up to you which other scheduled tasks you wish to disable. To disable, run this command. And the scheduled defrag task has now been disabled. When you start Windows 11, some programs launch automatically and run in the background. You can disable these programs so that they do not start when Windows boots up. To stop a program from starting automatically, go to Settings, Apps, Startup, and then turn off all programs that you don't need or use frequently. Finally, you must adjust the visual effects in Windows 11. Many visual effects, such as animations and shadow effects, are included in Windows 11. These are visually appealing, but they can take up extra system resources and slow down your computer. To disable visual effects in Windows, type performance in the search box, and then select adjust the appearance from the list of results. Now select the option adjust for best performance and click apply. Installing a Windows 11 virtual machine on KVM and optimizing it for performance is now complete. Thank you for watching this video and staying until the end. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.